welcome to another episode of Ascend. This is one of my favorite things in the world, to be teaching people everything that we've learned over the years. And I've not just learned a lot of things, we've picked up a lot of friends, we've picked up a lot of band members over the years. And I'll never forget, probably our fifth or sixth time going to Brazil, I met this band called Hobach Zion. It's spelled like Rio Boat Zion. And I got a chance to pull this band aside, and I got a chance to pour into them and ask them questions about who the leader was and what their mission was and what their calling is. And then we even extended our stay, and Avian and I were backed by this band. And as we continued to travel back and forth going to Brazil, we've probably been there 20 times now. Eventually, a guitarist kept joining us. And this guitarist sometimes would be filling in for Jabby doing rhythm, sometimes filling in for Obi doing lead. And then my favorite moments were when he would have a duel on stage with Obi doing lead guitar. That's not today's class. Lead guitar is not today's class. But to be honest, he would beat Obi. I mean, he would do solos behind his head. He would do solos up against mic stands and amps and all kinds of stuff. They'd practically break their guitars, but they didn't. And over the years, I've worked with a lot of guitarists, but no guitarist better than Renato Taimes from Sao Paulo, Brazil. No guitarist that knows reggae more, that lives, that breathes, that eats, that farts reggae. This guy is reggae. So give it up for Renato Taimes from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
My brother, thanks so much. I appreciate it. So, guys, today we're talking about something. This, for me, this is reggae. We are talking about rhythm guitars. So, some people think this is too simple. Some people think this is okay. If we have like two guitars in the band, the guy who play less, you'll be the rhythm guitar. The guy who play more, let's say like Guitar Hero or kind of that kind of stuff. You play the lead because this guy knows music more, know more about guitar and whatever. So, but for me, in my vision, this is not true, right, guys? Because rhythm guitar on reggae music is something really important. Play all the time, almost all the time. Lead guitar, some songs you have some solos, some songs have no solo, some songs you have some stuff like flatpick, but don't play all the time. Rhythm guitar, play all the time, have all the responsibility on the song. So that's for me, it's really important. And I want to show you guys today different ways to play rhythm guitar and stuff like that. So I want to start with ska. Why I want to start with ska? Because ska, let's say, it's like the beginning for everything. Of course, Jamaican music start with, let's say, mento or calypso or whatever, but ska, I think it's the start of reggae music. It's the beginning of the reggae music. And the ska, guys, come from where come ska? Ska come from American music, come from the jazz. All right, hope you guys can hear my guitar. So, if you be attention, if you listen really careful about ska, you see some similar things with jazz. Like, let's play something like. But if you listen jazz, you see like. This check, 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 check. And I think this ska come from this American music called jazz, but it's more simple and more dance for me. People can dance more. So let's play some ska. What do you guys see? All right, this is ska. I want to show you how I played this. So you need to play all the strings like some people play ska like that. No, it's not this. And you need to play and you have some, I don't know if I can call this ghost notes, like so this is ska. Ska is one of my favorite kind of reggae because we have a lot of, let's say, instrumental sessions, a lot of solos because I think because the jazz influence, a lot of instrumental and people can dance. The musician can do it, many solos and have fun. So the next one, you'll be Rocksteady. So Rocksteady, it's a little bit after ska in in the 16, maybe yeah, 16, I think. It come, it's kind of ska, but it's a little more slow. Like let's play something for this. Have a lot of influence about like soul music. If you listing some artists like Alton Ellis, Toots and the Maytals, these guys, you see similar with the soul music, like black music, soul music, because the chords is like some chords more major 7 or 9 or whatever. You don't find this kind of chords. But in this car, you don't really have this. But in Rocksteady, you see some chords like that. Let's see. Let's play. You guys can see major 7, minor 7. Major 7, it's kind of cool chords. All right, this is Rocksteady. Really have a lot of influence about from soul music, from black music, from Motown. You can see some similar things with Motown music. And also, guys, we have
Quick
another.
question:
Yeah.
do you ever do an upstroke with those, or is it always down?
let's say in this car, I always go down. In the rocksteady, it's kind of like reggae,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, I know like some people do,
Yeah.
of course, but for me, just too
It's
high.
it has too much of a bite. Too much of a bite. Yeah. Do you now? Are every one of your fingers completely pressed down on the fretboard, or are you muting any of them?
I no mute here, I mute here, in this thing.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
No, I can play like like here. Here's the thing.
So just to clarify, your left hand, is it pressing down all the way on the strings, or is it lightly loosened on some of them? And if so, which ones?
No, I press all the strings
Okay.
and I try to play all the strings.
Okay.
To be more, more
Yeah.
song, more full. Let's say. I can
Nice.
play. I like more.
Nice.
But in the early Reggae, I don't know if I can call this early Reggae. It's like in that style, I play like up down, like that. So yeah, this is the early Reggae. For me,
El Reggae temprano.
different for ska.
Para mí suena muy diferente al ska.
O ska é mais.
You know. So yeah, let's move. And after that, I will talking about roots reggae. We have a lot of different ways to play roots reggae. We have like some Marley style. We have many different style. Let's start with this. You can go like that. Just and if you go like double. But be careful, guys. Não do that. This is no reggae. I see many people do this in my country, in Brazil. Many people do this, but guys, please, no, this is not reggae, okay? And also, I play all the strings, and in that hand, my left hand, I don't press like that. I just like almost you can't hear the chord, but you can. Like, all right. So Mark, you say something?
Yeah. So that's the position where you're lightly pressing and you're kind of, it's almost sounding percussive. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's really perfect.
So you're not completely pressing your finger pads on everyone. You're kind of just lifting it off. How much? Like, not all the way, not halfway, maybe just a little bit, just to get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
just,
you mentioned in Brazil they do this, don't do this. What is the difference? Give us the exact difference of how to play your way versus the way that you said in Brazil they do.
listen this. You can see the difference.
Yeah, that first one is so annoying. So it's a check and then the chick is quicker. It's not it's like an afterthought. It's like you're just coming back up. You're not really making a note. You're back.
Think about shake.
Check. That's a nice, yeah. But it's not a it's yeah. Okay, nice, very nice, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So this is we have many different people say this in won't say chank, would say chick, would say some people say rhythm. In Brazil we say base, like a base, like the foundation of reggae.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. The base of it, base, and bash is Portuguese for bass, right?
Well, baixo is bass.
Baixo, okay. But you call it base, like yeah. That's the, and in reggae we typically call it rhythm. This is rhythm, whereas the drums and the bass are not. And then we call it what? Shank, chuck, skank. Never call anybody a skank. Cool, nice.
Yeah. So that way, and also, guys, we have like just one. We have like I usually do this when I play. I know you say it's like a rule, but in major key, I like to do more. I can do it like that, but for that kind of song, I like it. And everything is about my left hand. It's percuss, like something we loop and play all the time and be constantly try not be like right play in the same way like yeah, we have this example in major key. I know we say every song in major key is like that. I think this is, let's say, about hi-hats, about organ bubbles. If you see hi-hats like check. If you listen this, the flow, okay, I can do it like that because we have this. Oh, how can I say this? This rhythm on the song. And bubbles. In some songs, we just have. We don't have. So, in that way, I prefer to play just one. For everything play together, you know? So, yeah. Yeah, and also, I want talking about the reggae from 80s. You know, guys, in 80s, we have the music and the word change a lot. We start to use a lot of effects. We start to use a lot of echoes and reverbs and modulation effects. And reggae come in the same way, you know. Reggae just start to use a lot of effects and a lot of stuff like that. And on the guitar, I can listen a lot of modulation effects. What is modulation effects? I was talking about chorus, like chorus effect, or phaser. That's two I use a lot. Flanger I don't really use all the time, just some situation. But for me, for rhythm guitar, I use a lot of chorus and phaser. Phaser just because phaser can be something really percussive if you play like you can see in songs when you have more like
Real quick, go back to that last one. What's your signal chain there? What pedals are you going through right there? Is it flanger?
this is phaser.
Phaser?
Phaser.
Anything else? Phaser and chorus, or
No, just phaser.
just phaser? Okay. Which phaser pedal are you using?
Okay, I use a digital pedal, what's called Line 6 Helix, but I simulate some pedal called Phaser 990. It's a really classic phaser from Dunlop, I think. MXR, I think is the brand. It's a really classic one, but we have many brands, different brands. But yeah, for me now I have this digital pedal called Line 6 Helix. What I have many different kind of phaser, but I like that one because that one it's sounds like my analog. I have this pedal, analog pedal phaser 90, so this is more similar to the analog pedal. And yeah, and also chorus. Right, so let's play with chorus for you guys see the difference. Chorus can be more sweet, can be more like if you were talking about some reference, let's say Gregory Isaacs. Gregory Isaacs use a lot of chorus. Dennis Brown use a lot of chorus. Yeah, I use chorus in one song, Christafari song. Just one moment, I run to my pedal and press the switch just for one part. I play like Right of Decision. one part, that part needs to be chorus, and then I turn off and continue to play the song. Yeah, chorus is something really nice on reggae. I use a lot. Chorus and phaser for modulation effects. What I use a lot about effects and and reverbs. But no, I know we're talking about dub right now, but I'm talking about ambience. Like I can feel the song more full. I think reverb can make the song more, let's say, in some place. I always see reverb taking me someplace, take somewhere. Reverb give me this sensation, let's say. So whatever I use about wah on rhythm guitar. Sorry. I use wah with reverbs also for do rhythm guitar. So let's see. We can.
Tell me
Yeah,
times what's your signal chain there? I know you're using a wah. What is it? The same pedal?
yeah. I use my pedal for be exactly it's simulator, right? I simulate many pedals there, and that wah I use a Crybabe simulator. Guys,
Mm-hmm.
it's a Crybabe from Dulop also.
And what's your foot doing? And what angle is your foot moving?
I go like low to high. Sometimes I do like first high and then low.
Okay. Nice. And what else? Now you have reverb on this, right?
I have a reverb.
And any other things, any other plugs going in or
No, just reverb and wah.
nice. Sounds nice.
I tried not use many effects and just one thing, for make more clean, for guys can listen every effects really clean. So let's continue this. Let's see my notes. Just a second, guys. And also, we can use wah in another way. Bob Marley used a lot like that. For be exact, Peter Tosh used like that, like something percussive. No, really play the
Yeah,
notes.
yeah. We've done a lot of stuff in the past where we're trying to get a sound similar to Tosh, where it almost doesn't matter what your left hand is doing.
Yeah,
Jabby does this a lot. He would, especially if he didn't know the chords to the song, he'd just be like, his hand would just be doing this. I'm like, I don't know guitar, but I know that this is not a chord. He'd be like, but it almost sounds like a train coming. Could you show us that technique? And also beyond that, your rag technique, your handkerchief technique.
Yeah, and some bands use like that. It's a kind of percussive thing, you know. It's not really the notes. Of course, we need to play the right chords, because sometimes I play the chords, but the most important thing is some people just go. We have a lot of intro from reggae artists like with reverb also.
Yeah, that has a lot of funk feel. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
definitely there was a convergence of sounds going on. We see a lot of that in like third world stuff, Journey to Addis, and other albums where they're fusing some of those things, and same thing with clavinet and other instruments where we see this the funk and reggae kind of sharing similar sounds. One person, Angel, is asking, "Are you using Ottawa? Do you ever use Ottawa?"
Yeah, I use a lot, but not really for rhythm guitar, but I use a lot for lead guitars.
Oh,
Yeah, because
but not for rhythm. And when is your lead guitar class?
it's tomorrow.
At what time?
The same time, 7. Oh, sorry. For me, 7 p.m. For you guys. Yeah,
3 p.m. And I just want to encourage you. We're going to talk about it again later, but his lead class is going to take you to the other side. He said a lot of times, if there's two guitarists, one guy does lead, one guy does rhythm. Rhythm, as you can tell, is not that easy. So that's why he thinks that you shouldn't just give it to the guy who can't play that well. But tomorrow he's gonna teach you how to solo behind your head. Maybe not, but he's going to teach you a lot about solo, and I'm really excited about that. Let's continue on.
I use Altoa for lead, like I say, but for just answer question, just for this Altoa is response how you play, like how strong you play, like some people use for rhythm guitar. I don't really like, because I like do this on my foot, so on my hand, I don't know. I don't feel really comfortable with this, but yeah, some people do. For sure. So yeah, and also guys, we have some different ways to play, like with phaser. One band what called Stuples use a lot stuff like that, like in one song we played the song called Your House, and we have this in this song. I will show you some example. No, Your House first, but in another song, Marley used the style in one song.
I love that.
Yeah, this is really nice, but I like to do that when I
That's a
have.
whole different pattern.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
In your house, we do it. Like,
Sweet. Now, do you do that with the normal shank going on at the same time?
yeah,
Nice.
because but it's nice because in Brazil you have one guy called Nego Vieira, and Nego do that also, but do it a little different because Nego just know use pick, paleta. I don't know how can I say this in English, but I think it's pick. Yeah, Nego does with the hand, but it's really something really different. I will show you guys. For me, I think it's really nice, but I miss like chunk, chunk, chunk. But he go like that. That's his style. It's different. For me, it's different, but sounds really nice. It's another way to play, I think. So let's move on. Okay, now I want to talking about what kind of guitar you use for play reggae. I usually say the best guitar it's what you have, what your money can buy for sure. But let's say for play reggae guys, I will say be careful because reggae, I know you say for you guys any guitar will work. Like if you guys try play reggae with some guitar who have too much signal, like too much gain, when you play, you got some distortion because it's too strong. And reggae needs to be clean. So guitar
So there's
like
never a place for distortion in reggae shanks, correct?
distortion yet, never. But something really interesting. Bob Marley use it's no distortion, but
Saturation.
saturation. Yeah, it's a two
Yeah.
saturation.
Yeah,
You
that's
open the
common, but distortion I would never use.
yeah,
Yeah, this isn't.
we're working well. So yeah, if you use like guitar with too much gain, like humbuckers pickup, like Fly V guitar, Gibson Fly V guitar like that, you'll be too much gain, and also you'll be distortion. So be careful with this. But I personally like guitars with low signal, like that one. It's a guitar from Gibson, and Bob Marley used that model because this pickup is really different. This pickup is called P90, P90, I think. P90. Sorry, guys. Yeah, and it is not like a single coil like a Stratocaster, but it's not like a rumbucker. It's like in the middle of the way. It's not like really single or no really strong like a humbucker. It's kind of, and you can have a fat song like, and you can have like Telecaster, let's say. For flat picks, I really like that guitar because you can hear very clarity when you do flat pick on the guitar. Flat pick, I can say Portuguese pica-pau, flat pick, mute guitar, staccato can be.
Yeah,
Also.
we call it flat pick. And what a flat pick is, if the bass line is dun 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 dun, it's or something. It's ghosting typically or shadowing the guitar. So I guess would you guide us through how to do? I know flat pick. When I have a guitarist that wasn't raised and bred on reggae music, they have the hardest time in getting flat pick because they want to have too much clarity or they're not consistent in their muting. And so how do you do that? Please, please, please.
Yeah, flat pick, guy, something really hard. To me, it's really hard. Sometimes I, times, you know, some too much signal, too low, too high. You know, it's about here. You need to play and mute like here with your hand. This part of the hand. I will play with the bass. I usually go like exactly what the bass do. For me, make more like, how can I say what the word?
It emphasizes the bass. It helps give it solidarity. One thing that we like to do is do that same thing to try something like that now.
Yeah.
Now let's try something that I love Black Uhuru for. I don't know what it's called, but I call it counterpoint, where the bass is playing one bass line and the guitar is playing what could be a different bass line. And they're kind of doing this dance. They're completely different notes, but they fit together. So Black Uhuru does that a lot. So try and play a different flat pick than the bass line that works with the bass line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense for me. Like another line can be work also.
I love that. What's the cheapest guitar you can buy that will give you the best reggae rhythm sound?
Cheap guitar, I would say always single coil, guys, like Stratocaster, Squire, or Fender Mexican, whatever. But I would say always single coil for you feeling, let's say, the wood. When you have some pickup with too much signal, it's too much pickup sounds. When you have low
So
signal,
the wood you're saying?
wood, yeah, You can feel this.
Okay. So, do you prefer hollow body or a full body? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, Oliver, it's nice. I have one here.
Which is your favorite to tour with of all the guitars?
The most, how can I say it? Uh, most easy one for travel. I will say because my guitars, all guitars I have, I like. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
I have guitar. No, that's one I don't really like. I make work for because I will say I have my song in my head. I have my song in my hand. If I play that guitar, if I change the guitar, you
Yeah.
see different, but you see still times when play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay.
guys, we play together, and you guys never. Oh, times you have different tones.
So one guitar that keeps going out of key, going out of tune.
Yeah. Sometimes.
When it keeps going out of tune, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You don't want one that goes out of tune all the time. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah. That guitar,
Because
always.
another question too, a couple people have asked both, can you play reggae with an acoustic or classical guitar?
Yeah, let's see that. Do you have an acoustic there or not?
But yeah, we can do it for sure. We can
Yeah,
do it.
grab an acoustic really quick, please.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Connor. So yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the question and answer segment. Wow, this has just been an education already. Mute with your right hand for flat pick. Lightly mute with your left hand. Just don't press so hard for a more percussive rhythm. And it's not so much the gear as it is the ears and the experience of the person. I remember when Christafari, we were always using, our guitarist was using a Fender Strat, like a Mexican one, and we decided to buy the Gibson that Bob played on, and it was the hardest guitar to get a good rhythm tone on. So it's not necessarily getting something like what somebody else has played, it's knowing how to play like somebody else. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. And we're looking forward to reading your questions in just a moment. One other guitar that he uses a lot, and guitars that we were endorsed by for some time, was Steinberger. And one thing we like about the Steinbergers is that you don't really have to tune them. The bass, pretty much never, but the guitar you do tune, but not as much as a normal guitar. Part of that is the necking. Part of that is that they don't have the little tuning things on top. All right, you ready, Taimes?
Yeah. Acoustic guitar, we can do for sure. We can do it. I use a lot of acoustic guitar in some songs, but I don't use for chunks, for rhythm. I use for, let's say, some lead, let's say some. I use in one song for Avion called "Moment to Pray." I use for that kind of stuff. I don't really use for, but for sure you can do it. I know you say.
And I guess let me ask you this question: if somebody's, let's say they're taking a famous worship song, they already know the chords to it, and do they just chank instead of strum? Is there anything different that they do? Do they mute with any hand? What in what capacity is it different from the typical chords that they would use for just, let's say, Waymaker? Let's say they Google Waymaker online, they find out the chords and they chank. Is there anything else that they need to know for an acoustic guitar to do reggae?
All right. For reggae, let's say open chords does not work for rhythm reggae. All right. So if you play like G open like that, right? If you play the reggae, you can see the difference.
What did you do? What in the world did you just change?
I play like open chord, like that, G open chord, and I play G, but that one I have no idea. How can I say this in English? Like regular chord.
Portuguese. How do you say it in Portuguese?
Pestana.
Okay. Well, just show us the hand as close as you can to the camera. Okay. And so the first one, the open one, is what?
Open chord, G open.
And then.
And for play reggae,
Okay.
that's
So what you're saying is the bar chords are necessary for reggae. It's got to be a bar chord, right?
bar chord. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Bar for us, a bar means that there's not that openness. I think that's what it means. I don't know music that much, but I do know that the reggae rhythm is bar chords, from what I understand.
All right.
Cool.
I hear you talking about Steinberger. I have one.
Yeah, show us your Steinberger. Yep, nice.
Just know like some Steinberger just don't have this body. Have just
Yeah.
there's one have. There's one from 80s. It's really old one. Made in USA. It's really nice one. And yeah, you lock this
Yeah.
and you don't need tune anymore.
Ah.
Really nice one. And have a really strong song. Steinberger. Some reggae guys like because you can play like you listen Steinberger song in many 80s
Yeah.
because I think
Early 90s and 80s reggae.
my one I don't play so many times. So
Are you able to turn it up a little bit as well? Times
yeah,
the
just a
guitar.
second. I will. That guitar I don't use that much, so I'm not really tuning that one. But when you tune, no, you need tune anymore. Old guitars, guys. Sometimes Dennis Brown use a lot. Gregory Isaac.
That was the Love and Hate intro, wasn't it? Love and Hate.
Use exactly that guitar. Exactly this guitar. With amplifier Holland Jazz Chorus JC.
Roland Jazz Chorus JC 120.
Yeah,
Roland. By the way, our preferred amps on stage are
I will say Fender and Roland.
yeah, Fender
Fender
Twin
Twin,
Reverb
Fender Deluxe.
Deluxe. Fender Twin is the number 1. Fender Deluxe is number 2. Roland Jazz Chorus 120, is it, or whatever, is number 3, right?
Number 3, because for rhythm and guitar,
Yeah.
Roland is really, really nice. I
Your
know
least
for lead guitar, but for
least favorite of all. I know what it's going to be. Go ahead and tell me.
sorry,
Least favorite amp, Marshall, right? The one that you get every time. It seems like you show up, they're like, "We got an amp for you." It's this giant stack of amps. It's like Marshall. We're like, oh Lord Jesus. So
Yes.
no, what if they don't have a Fender if they don't have a Roland Jazz Chorus, is there another guitar amp? Maybe Vox?
Vox can be really nice, but you have a little saturation.
Yeah.
If you need to play really clean, and Vox can be problem because
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of the amps is that they're made for good distortion, like the orange amps. Those are made for distortion, right?
yeah, can be really good for distortion.
So same thing with a lot of Marshalls. So what are the best clean ones that you can get a good sound? Because you can always add distortion with a pedal if you need it.
Yeah, I would say Fender Deluxe, Fender Twin, Fender always can be really good.
Yeah.
Clean signal and bright signal.
Yeah.
Roland can be really clean, but no bright. It's just like flat.
Yeah.
Really flat amp.
Something that we do when we record, we've done it different ways, but we'll lay down a rhythm guitar, but we'll send it to two amps, two different amps, maybe two Fenders or a Fender and a Roland, and then we'll stereo pan them hard, and so you get the same guitar, but in two different ears and two different amps. Another thing that he does a lot is he'll give me rhythm guitar. It'll say. I'm trying to remember the names of the guitar. Paul, what are the names you give me?
Oh, I tried always do it. Les Paul side and Strato
on the other side. So he'll do. So we used to always do it when we were, and we'll get into this when we're mixing, but it would always be piano this side, hard right, rhythm guitar hard left, flat pick hard right, bubble hard left. But when he came in, he took it over. Piano center, Strat one side, Les Paul the other side, and then you don't know where to put the flat pick because there's guitars on both sides already. But he did, and he likes that bite, that it's got a cut, and each of those guitars I EQ separately in a different way, and I EQ them different from the piano so that overall that, what do you call it, basso? That bass, that rhythm chank is just so clear.
Yeah, I also on the stage I like to use two amps. I use a lot like two amps in stereo, and I ask corner or engineer for open the pan. But tour is something really hard, and sometimes it does not have amplifier. That's why I use this pedal, this Line 6 pedal, because
tell us the name of the pedal again.
Line 6 Helix floor.
Okay, and
because the pedal I can simulate amplifiers.
Yeah, so there are times we pray against them, but there are times where we show up. There's no bass amp, there's no guitar amp, sometimes no keyboard. We scramble for the keyboard, but we can do it without a guitar amp. We can do it without a bass amp, but you don't get any stage volume whatsoever. The engineer sometimes likes that because he has more control. But when you're doing a wailing solo, nobody in the band is really hearing you unless you're in their ears, in our in-ear monitors. So, okay. What type of strings or picks would you recommend for reggae?
So strings, I like 0, 0, 10. 010, it's my number. And brand, I would say Elixir.
Okay.
010. Sometimes I broke.
Yeah, we've seen you do that before.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to change a string on stage? How long does it take you to change a string on stage?
Sorry, I don't know.
¿Cuántos minutos to change a string?
Okay. So yeah, it all depends. The sad things is when I have solo and my string broken.
Yes. Then you have to get creative.
Yeah. Some shows I do with 5 strings. Sometimes I,
4 strings.
4 strings. But your bass needs to be like smile or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, no
You
need
just-
to know you broke your string. So
There are different ways to play the same notes, so you just have to, go
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it. But yeah, I'll
Great.
see you over there tearing it away, and your guitar has all these antennas, just all these wires hanging out. I'm like, oh Lord, he broke one. Time for Mark to preach in between these songs. Okay, Tim Lenard, Ja Pickney, good friend of ours, says, can you talk about the tone settings on the guitar and the amp? Let's take it to your favorite guitar or the most common guitar that somebody would use, and just show us the tone settings on the guitar and an amp if you were to use the amp. I know you're going to crank it up to 11. Sorry, I had to do Spinal Tap reference there.
So I will share my screen with you guys. I will show my amplifier. I use now from Helix Line 6. And yeah, I can show you. So you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
we're
you're good.
So here's my amplifier. It's a Fender amplifier. And like I say, I use drive, little overdrive, but like saturation. If you like if you open, you can feel it's just a little bit saturation. My bass just flat, like a little bit, but flat. And my high frequency and that ampli, I use a little more because I can feel bright, Yeah, presence, a lot presence. Because I try to simulate some Fender amplifier. This is one thing about Fenders, always really bright, always really open sound. And the mix, you can feel this. If you have too low amplifier, can be sometimes the same frequency with piano that I need. I try to find my place on the mix, That's why I use for clean signal, bright. But yeah. And yeah, guys, this is my signal flow, let's say. And my pedals, wah, compressor. I have some filter here, distortion 1, distortion 2, amplifier, speakers, volume. Then I have my modulation effects, chorus, phaser, delay 1, delay 2, reverb. I use 3 reverbs. I use that one spring reverb. I use that one. Sometimes you have some worship moment on the stage, or we have some songs like worship. I use a lot of reverbs for make in that situation. And also one reverb I never go off, and that one. It's just a room just for make my guitar sound somewhere. But this is a digital amp. When I go analog amp or real amp, I just try to make the same exactly sound.
Which
Sometimes,
makes for some loud sound checks. Sometimes for
yeah,
hours, you'll be chank and then tweak and then chank and then turn a knob and then chank and then until you get it right. Correct?
yeah. So basically, this is my amplifier and my settings. This is my Christafari Live preset. Tomorrow I will talk about more some effects, how I use, how I tune, but today just for you guys see my signal flow and yeah. Okay, next question.
That is some rich stuff, and I think that the the Helix is it's a pretty expensive unit. It's about $1,700, right?
That one is really.
Yeah,
What?
but
Oh,
it is like buying an amp. It's like buying 100 pedals or more. It definitely is. You used to have a big pedal board with a bunch of pedals all plugged in, right?
I have many.
Do you use them now that you have the Helix?
I use from some recording,
But not live.
no live, no anymore.
Okay.
Sometimes I go do a solo. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, Renato Taimes on guitar and just no work because some cable broken, a lot of problems. So Helix now just more easy, make my life.
Okay. Here's some questions. I'm not sure. Samuel Mayorga. I'm not sure where that would be. Mayorga says, which harmonic circle is most used in reggae? I don't know what that means. Harmonic circle. I think
It's like music theory stuff. I'm not sure if you would know specifically times.
Harmonic circle.
if I could see the original question and we knew the language, it may help us, because sometimes there's different.
Okay, next one.
That's something I haven't heard before. All right. Next one is this one. You already talked about classic guitar, so here it is. At this time, what are your musical influences?
Dude, I have many. For reggae guitars, I would say my favorite one it's Ernest Hangley.
Okay, Ernest Ranglin. Yeah, Ranglin. And by the way, from time to time, you'll hear an H instead of an R. That's Brazilian. They don't come from Rio. They come from Rio. His name is not Renato. It's Renato. So if he ever says Hutzhege or Hucksteady, you know what he's saying. Ernest Ranglin. And if you are an acoustic or a guitarist that wants to stretch yourself, he is, gosh, he's the, who are some legendary American guitarists?
From jazz, let's say Joey Pass. From rock, let's say can be like Jimi Hendrix for reggae.
Yes, he's the Jimi Hendrix for reggae. That's the best way to describe it. Do you ever use overdrive?
Yeah, I use overdrive. I don't use distortion pedal, but I use a lot overdrive pedals.
For rhythm?
No, not for rhythm.
Just for lead. Thought so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any specific keys you recommend for reggae? Example: C major, D minor, etc. I think that all depends on the song, right?
Depending on the song, depending on the singer.
Yeah. Reggae is not like, I mean, we've used every chord that we can think of in songs. Even the same singer all the way across, like Avion's album. There's a lot of different chords and a lot of different progressions and stuff. So, yeah, there's no one way. Reggae is not like G and B or whatever. Okay, Maximiliano says, what's your opinion of fusing reggae and other genres? He says dreadcore, dubstep, trap, etc.
Guys, for me, Mark, no, my opinion about this, but yeah, we can do it. For sure, we can do it. But
I can answer that for you. You're a purist. You're a purist.
Yeah.
But on this Avion album that you just produced, it was your first album you produced entirely from beginning to end. You incorporated all kinds of stuff from Indian rhythms, hip hop, jazz, bossa nova, blues, R&B. There's acoustic. There's so many different elements. You know, that some funky moments. So you definitely are not a purist on this album.
Yeah.
And so I think that is something to be said. So I would say that reggae goes good with almost everything. It even goes good with country music. I can't believe I just said that. But I prefer it in its pure form, kind of like acai. I don't want the apple juice, the acai from apple juice concentrate. I want the real acai. So yeah, okay. Is there an ideal tone to play? Example, bridge, pick, high frequency, or does it depend on the song style? And so tone, bridge, pick, high frequency, and the other thing is show us what you do with your knobs for the rhythm on your guitar.
It's all depend of the song, guys. For if I play like, sorry for the word, skanky, skanky style, I like pick up from, oh, sorry, that part. For that part, I like play more. And yeah, it's all depend of the song. I use all all my options of tones on my guitar. I try to use everything because I can't travel with many guitars, so I try to get what maximum from just one guitar. So for leads, also I like to use for beat pickup, and yeah, I try to use everything on my guitar. My tone is always open. All my tones is open. Everything's open. And pickups depend of part of the song, depend on what how you do.
Okay, so I guess your answer, and I know this because I mix these songs you're throwing my way. No two songs sound the same when it comes to rhythm. Sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's muted, sometimes it's phase or what. There's all different kinds of sounds you go for, and I think that you kind of you're an artist, and if you were making a wedding cake, you don't make two the same. You make the wedding cake according to the colors of the wedding, the personalities of the people getting married, the day, the time of the year. All these things come in to play when you're doing rhythm. You're working on tones, and I know that tomorrow when you teach on lead, you're going to get into more tones, and one class I'm really excited about when you talk about chord structures. Which class is that?
Oh, the power of chord progressions. Yeah,
Yeah.
guys, that one is be really nice one because I will try to teach you about this feeling. I can show you some example. If I want to take you guys in Brazil, right? Brazil will have some progression of chords. We have some chords like I can take you in many different places. I can make you sad. I think make you happy. I think I can make you whatever. But I will try to explain to you different feelings about different progressions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one. That was the power of a chord progression, June 16th at 3 p.m. So yeah, we'll get into more on chords then. Um, Here's another question that we have. What factors do you take into consideration when you choose between using complete bar chords or open chords with muted strings? So when do you how do you make the decision whether you use a complete bar chord or an open chord with muted strings? Any thoughts behind that?
I will say depend. Open chords for rhythm, I usually don't do it. Open chords, I usually do it for another things. Like if I go like some, I use open chord for that situation.
So
But
strumming or
yeah,
just playing that chord, letting it ring out in a pre-chorus, in a bridge, maybe
yeah,
even on the chorus. But usually the chenk is straight bar chords, correct?
yeah. Bar chords always. If I do chinks, always bar chords, always. I can't
Nice.
like you know.
Do you compress your guitar?
Depends. If I do flat picks, yeah. For rhythm and guitar, Chanks not. I use not. But if I do it like flat picks, yeah. Compressions just help me make more constantly my my signal.
Consistent, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me this. What about PRS?
PRS, it's really nice one guitar. Expensive guitar. Junior Marvin from the Wailers, most recent the Wailers album, used the one. For my vision, it's too much modern. I I like more old guitars, more older sound, but it's a great guitar. Great guitar.
Nice. Okay. All right. Franco says, do you ever use delay?
I use delay a lot. Yeah. I use delay. I like, let's say, tape delays or simulator for tape delays with modulation on the end of delay, like you can feel like old tape, you know. And I use, yeah, many different delays, stereo, mono. In my signal flow, I have like 3 different kind of delays. I use delays for sure. I use.
Yeah. And when that he gives me his clean signal, I run it through a plate reverb. I run it through another big reverb. I use like that fast of but a very very slight tick 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 tick, very very slight. And there's probably 3 or 4 other delays I have, and then what I'll show you this when I do my how to mix a song class. I then take all of the rhythm, I bounce that to a separate track, and then there are times where I want to dub that, and then I automate the volume to come up and down, and that little portion that's the bounce of everything, I offset it a little bit, I AM it, and I know it sounds like a lot. I'll show you visually when I do, and then chink 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 chink. That's pretty much the most common. 2, 3, 4. Chink 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 chink. And I like to have a low pass filter on it, so essentially it's chink 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 chink. It kind of becomes more and more AM as it delays. We definitely don't do a high pass, we do a low pass. And that's the kind of the thing that the tape saturation kind of it affects the quality of it after time, and that's what I love. I use something called Dub Station for that. Dub Station 1.5 that is. But yeah, anything you want to add to that before we get to the next question, Times?
Good. In live, I use that exactly kind of delays, but in my own delay, I have the saturation on the delay. I don't have another effect for make this, but yeah.
Nice. Okay. Hopefully you can get into this more in the lead guitar section, but would you pull up the most dubby sounding song, root sounding song, and loop it and give us some of the dub effects stuff that I ask for when you hand a song towards me. I usually like lead guitar. I like flat pick. I like some pads. I like rhythm. You usually give me 2 rhythms, but you also give me 1 or 2 channels of dub effects, and that's the kind of stuff that gives the song some life and some personality. Would you show them that? And this is also something that in reggae, the rhythm guitarist would typically be playing 3 things. Tell me if I'm wrong, Times. Rhythm, chick, chick, flat pick, and then things like that. If there's a section where it doesn't call for flat pick and it doesn't call for rhythm. So Taimes kind of plays everything on stage. So go ahead.
Play some dub. Yeah. Great stuff.
He's going to teach you some of that stuff, and of course, how to do an incredible lead solo that doesn't have you in a tangled mess afterwards during the lead guitar class. Okay, here's another one. This is from Luis Ramos. Is it viable to play live with a laptop with plugins like Guitar Rig or Amplitude? Amplitude.
I don't use laptop live because I have this pedal. But this pedal, this Line 6, have a plugin called Line 6. Oh my gosh, Line 6, I forget the name. But it's the same Helix, Line 6, but it's a plugin. You can have exactly the same song I have on my pedal in your computer. So yeah, for sure you can do. You have a really great song. The same song I have, you can have on your computer. So yeah, I agree.
And that can obviously work virtually for studio. Uh, this next album we're about ready to release, Avion's Fly album. I'm pretty sure that you recorded it in at least 30 different nations.
Oh, for sure,
it, it was recorded in every hemisphere, on every continent except for Antarctica. You were able to do it in a hotel room, just by setting up your pedal, your guitar, and the laptop. And so I would say, hey, let's go to the beach, or let's do this, or let's do that on a day off. You say, no, I'm going to record.
Yeah. And one thing nice about this pedal, I think, these modern pedals, not just this, but you have a USB, so your pedal can be your interface.
USB. Oh yeah, nice. USB. Nice.
I record Avion sometimes on my guitar pedal.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's something that that my friend who actually invented that pedal, he worked there for years. He said, Mark, you got to put Avion's voice through these pedals. There's some cool things you can do with voices. Okay, Samuel Mayorga said, what is the most common most used harmonic progression in reggae? So most used harmonic progression in reggae.
All right. I think I got what you say. So depend of the song, depend of the melody, vocal, I would say, but reggae, if we play roots reggae, I try to play not too many chords. I try to play less.
Yeah, less
play
is more.
Like I try to resume that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's give a great example. You're talking about the song. This is how I fight my battles.
Yeah.
So give the original and then give the reggae what you would do for it.
So if I play reggae, the first thing I will do here, and I will do minor in minor key. But the song it's major. How will you do minor? I will talking about this on my chord progression class, but I will substitute. I change the major chord for the minor relative chord.
Yeah, relative.
I use almost everything minor. I try. Sometimes I can't, but when I can't, I try to use minor for make more dark, for make more, reggae feeling. Let's say, roots reggae feelings. But I will explain better in my chord progression class.
Okay, so I'm forgive me, dude. You just played that and I just got an idea for that song. The battle is yours. The battle is yours. The battle is yours. Oh Lord, the fight is the Lord's. So I want to do that when we do the song "Fight My Battle." I want to do a little chant, something like that. Um, that's how I write songs, and then I send this voice memo, over to Times, and then he creates a whole song. One of the classes you're going to be teaching is how you do that, how you take my voice note and you turn it into an entire song. Tell us about that class.
Sometimes that guy, crazy guy, give me some crazy ideas, and I try to okay,
He kills it. You make it so awesome, dude.
yeah, and I analyze everything about what I try to do. It's try to take this guy in somewhere. If you
Yeah.
okay, times this song, I want something dark. I want something
Yes.
care. I want something happy. I want something,
Yeah.
And when I will choose my chords, I always try to make this feeling on the music. If you say something, I want something scared, I will try to
Yeah.
diminish chord.
Yeah.
This
One of the songs we're working on, I told him I want it like Ghost Town by the Specials, and I want it very dark. I want a Halloween sounding song.
yeah,
Because the song's about the Valley of Dry Bones. It's about zombies practically. So that's crucial. So you'll get into that in the power of chord progression. That's June 16th. I'll get into how I write a song. Well, gosh, in 30 minutes. We need to end pretty quickly here, but before we do, your song on building a song from scratch, your track on that, when is that one? I want to make sure that they're a part of that album. I'm not sure which one it is here.
build a song with scratch. I don't remember exact name.
Okay. Um, we'll come back to that in a second. In the meantime, here's another question: how do you tune when you're playing?
How I tune when you play?
Yes.
Tune? You talking about tuning or
Yes.
tone?
Yes. What do you use for tuning?
Well, do you use standard tuning, or do you use like will you do like a drop D or something? I think that's what the question's
All right,
asking.
depend. One time in Mauritian, one guy, hey dude, can I use your guitar? Yeah, for sure. But when the guy play, my guitar it's D open. So it's all depend of guitar I have. I have many guitars here. Les Paul, I like some some on the my Les Paul, it's drop D. Some guitar I have, it's just that string. It's like that. And some song, I'm just doing this live. I remember what song? I think Waymaker. One part I just play and do this in the middle of the song. So yeah, I tune different way. It depends of what I will do. For slide, slide bottleneck, I tune different. So this all depends.
Yeah, speaking of that, do you use a slider when you play reggae? And Tim said, do you use your hair as a slide?
Yeah, sometimes go. One time, just no go the song. What happened? And I see my dreads on.
The dreads were between the strings.
I broke something. What happened?
Yesterday, my dreads got caught in the car window as I rolled it up.
Oh.
I almost got scalped when I opened up the door. I found your class Monday, June 22nd, Building a Song from Scratch. Your producer and bassist and guitarist will show you how to build a song in one sitting, from a simple voice memo to a finished production using splice loops and live instruments. And you guys got to see this. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, here we go. Tim Leonard, I think this is the last question. I noticed that when you're doing bar chords, you often use your thumb on the top string instead of barring your finger all the way up. Does this change the sound or make the muting technique easier?
Yeah, I come from college. I do college, and my teacher just, no, you can't do that. You need to play guitar like that, in that position. But I love Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix just play like that. So this helped me for mute. This can work, but I prefer like that. Yeah, like Hendrix style. I love that. Help me for mute the chords for sure.
Nice. Okay, I've seen you use a rag. I've seen you use a bandana before.
Yeah.
Show me what you do and how you do it, because that's one thing you didn't get into here. You have to have a face mask around there somewhere.
Yeah. I don't have one here, but I use this for make this, because sometimes I play some string and one just like another string.
Oh, you don't want that ringing, that resonance.
Yeah. So I lock
Okay. And do you do that for lead?
for lead.
Okay, but not for rhythm.
For rhythm, it's when I'm recording, I try to do, because I don't want string just.
Okay.
Life.
Okay. Great. Okay. A few more things that I had on my list to ask you. Marley and Nango do this thing. Tink, 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 tink. Then sun is shining. The weather is sweet. Do 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 do. Yeah.
I do minor chord, and I go to the 7th note of the scale and start to be down.
Can you show that on one of the rhythms that you were playing?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Because that's one of my favorite things as well. It's so distinctly reggae. Nice. Okay. One more question for you before Justin comes in. And that question is this: there are little add-ons that you do. We talked about it when we did the piano class with Justin. There's little things that you do that we're seeing you do right now that you're not teaching us. you're just pure.
Automatically,
You're just doing all these little things. So could you teach us like 2 or 3 of your favorite, I call them add-ons, I don't know what they are, but little ad-libs that you're doing amidst the rhythm? All your decision. Okay. Okay, so essentially it's a little lick or a yeah. Give me another song. Fly Away. Give me some add-ons that you would do for Fly Away. Nice. How about Christafari? Nice. Awesome. Justin, you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Okay, why don't you say what you got to say, and then I'm going to close it out, okay?
Everyone, thanks again for joining us today. That was an amazing class. And I just want to encourage you to jump on our website, christafari.com/donate, and click on Taimes' name as along with all of us, he is a musicianary and he's coming from Brazil, and he is one of the hardest workers on our entire team. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and help support him in that way. And if that link doesn't work, I believe there's a PayPal option, I think. But
Yep.
Thank you again. And I also want to thank all the translators and the behind the scenes tech team for all the hard work they do. And to those viewing, I just want to tell you that our next class will be songwriting. So if that's something that you want to do, make sure you get registered and be ready in less than a half hour with that, with Mark.
And Thiago.
Oh yeah, Mark and Thiago. So.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Okay. Hey, before we close out, I want to give you guys a special incentive, if you will. Taimes has been working so feverishly for the last 3 years in at least 30 nations, recording Avion's Fly album. And I just got the final master back like 2 minutes ago, Taimes. Can you believe it?
Can you send me?
I'll send it to you. Yes. I just got the final master. We did a few tweaks last night again. You know, Avion is never happy with the first draft. She's gotta make sure everything sounds perfect. And it is probably the best album we've ever done. And a good portion of that is because Avion's doing 99% of the singing and Taimes is doing 99% of the music. But I want to bless you guys. If you believe in what we're doing, and if you donate to Christafari or to Taimes, starting this minute, or starting from today until the end of this semester, if you will, the end of the month, anybody who donates, I'm going to send them a thank you letter in the mail, just an email that has a link to download Avion's brand new album in its entirety. That's right. So you may say, well, that's not that special. I'll just get it online. Well, you won't be able to get it online for at least a month. And so if you want to hear it now and support an artist like Taimes, who's a full-time musicianary, please donate today. And we'll send you that email in the next day or two when the album is officially done with the artwork and everything. But we want to do that just to really bless those who are blessing us and to give them a special advanced copy and just a special thanks from us. So please go to christafari.com/donate right now. Click on donate, and if you can, on the the menu bar there. Click on Renato Taimes. Let's get this guy fully funded. Thanks so much. See you guys in the next class.